It's going to be a very fun Friday going back and forth with them after we discuss the death of the Lakers.
Yeah, I mean, come on, it wasn't close. I mean, we can try and once Anthony Davis made the effort to come out, and once it was obvious that he couldn't go.
Yeah.
It just, I mean, it wasn't close. I think the closest they got it to, that from my recollection, was 10. I think it was about 10. They got it within 10.
Yeah.
But it looked a lot like the previous game, to where the Suns came out, had a big lead. It wasn't the 30-point advantage they had at halftime, and the Lakers just they just had no answers. They had no answers for what Phoenix was doing.
So there's a lot to obviously get into here and process. Phoenix took it to them the last two games. There's no doubt about it, right? I mean, without Anthony Davis there, they were a different team. And that's how people saying, well, why didn't Anthony Davis even play last night? And that's a great point, right? I've torn my groin. I could not have played 2 days later. I give Anthony Davis major props for trying to come back. I mean, the simple reason was team confidence, right? That even if AD is at 7%, which it looked like he was, he was staying the perimeter offensively. Defensively, Phoenix, I think, actually did a really good job of getting him to switch onto Booker and other players that were more agile, just to kind of test his groin out. But the idea was confidence, right? Is that the team would play better early on if they knew Anthony Davis was there. That obviously didn't mean anything, as Booker had 6 threes in the first quarter, and Phoenix was up, I think, 36 or 38-14 at the end of one period. So it did not matter. It did not matter at all. I give him credit for getting up. But my takeaway from this, Jonas, quite simply is, are we witnessing the decline of LeBron's career? Year 18, hobbled off an injury, right? Short off season after a title last year. He's had over 200 playoff games. He's in year 18. He's going to go into year 19.
Yeah.
And it's very clear. Now, whether or not this is because of his ankle injury or because of age or because of all of it, he's not the guy anymore to go put up 45, 17, and 8 in a must-win game. He can't do it anymore. He just can't do it. And he's at the point of his career now where he does absolutely need the help of his teammates to even win a first-round playoff series. And he did not get any of that in the last 2 games.
Yeah, and look, that's not a knock on LeBron James. It's a natural regression that the older you get, you're going to need help around you. I mean, we could say whatever we want about, man, Tom Brady looks awesome and congrats, but part of the reason Tom Brady wanted to go elsewhere is that he recognized, I need help. Like, I can't do it with what I've got in New England. And so he went to Tampa Bay, and he got all the help he could possibly need. LeBron's at the point in his career, as you pointed out, you're not going to see these 50-point dominant performances like he had against the Warriors in Game 1, if not for the J.R. Smith gap at the end that Cleveland would have won that game. He doesn't have the ability to take over games like that. Not a knock whatsoever. I'm hesitant to just – pour dirt on the coffin of LeBron James, just from the standpoint of this was such a quick turnaround. We've never seen anything like this before. And the fact that of the 4 teams that were remaining last year in the bubble, 3 of 4 were knocked out in the first round. The only team to advance was Denver. Tells me there's a little something to that. So, look, he gets a full offseason to rest, to recover, to do what he needs to do with the ankle. Maybe they make some roster moves. I think they definitely need some roster moves. I mean, I'll ask you this. Did it not feel like, beyond LeBron and Anthony Davis, they go off a cliff on that team when it comes to who you can depend on to hit a shot? Phoenix came in waves. There were. I mean, Cam this, Jay Crowder, Bridges, like all the Ayton, all of these guys
hit a big 3 last
night.
Yeah,
like all of these, like Cameron Payne. By the way, Cameron Payne might be my favorite player in the NBA. He is a pedal to the metal, foot on the gas the entire game for the entirety of regulation. Yeah. He's full go, and the Lakers just don't have that. So there's definitely going to be some adjustments this offseason.
I think part of the issue, and this is where I think LeBron does deserve some blame for what's. I don't blame him for losing this series. I know people will blame him for that. I'm not going to do that. But I will blame him for kind of roster management, right? Like, he's in charge in his agency a lot with how this team is built, right? And the players they bring in, and also the willingness of other players to play with LeBron. And they need to get younger and they need to get better shooters. And a lot of younger players, I would imagine, feel intimidated by playing with LeBron. He doesn't get a lot of young guys to come play with him, right? He gets older veterans, guys he trusts, guys he knows, guys are with his agency. And if he wants to win, he has to realize that he needs to go in that direction. They need younger players, to your point, energy players. They need guys that you can rely upon, guys that can shoot. Look, and I know that Schroeder was supposed to be that guy. He wasn't, obviously. He was atrocious for most of the last two games. He finished with a decent stat line, and he made a couple shots in the second half. KCP ended up playing decently well, but early in the game when they needed him most, when Phoenix was going on the run, nowhere to be found, right? Missing shots, not taking shots. They need to get younger and get quicker and bring more energy and be able to shoot the ball better. And again, do those players want to play for LeBron? Do those players want to play for clutch, basically, right? I mean, it's for the Lakers, obviously, but a lot of those clients end up being clutch clients. That's the question I don't have an answer to. In the NFL, players gravitate to Tom Brady, right? Because they know they have a chance to win, and they know that he'll put them in the best position to win. He might be tough on those guys. I know their center, Ryan Jensen, fairly well. Tough on those guys, right? But the reward is winning a championship. So are younger players going to come to Los Angeles? And the NBA is built differently, right? I mean, a lot of players, young players that are good, just want that max contract too, and the Lakers aren't able to afford that.
By the way, you mentioned Ryan Jensen. Has there been one single play that he hasn't been into an altercation on, at least at some point during?
My favorite part of the Super Bowl was I tweeted out about an hour before the game. If there was a wager to be made, my favorite wager would be Ryan Jensen starts a fight with Chris Jones, the Chiefs defensive lineman.
It's every play.
I text Ryan before the game. I was like, Ryan, let's let you know, I told everyone you're going to fight Chris Jones. He goes, I saw your tweet. Don't worry, I saw it. Second drive of the game, Chris Jones gets a 15-yard penalty for punching Ryan Jensen.
It's every time.
It was just on cue. He's just a brawler, dude. He's just a mean old school lineman, bad body. Just not like I remember we were at this event together, O-line masterminds, where offensive linemen. If you remember, Von Miller did that pass rush summit thing. So we did it with offensive linemen. We were just talking about his film. He goes, "Man, I'm just not pretty, but I get the job done." I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. That's exactly how you play. But yeah, there was
a game. I was doing a show last football season, and I want to say that it might have been the Saints. It might have been the playoff game against the Saints.
Yeah, but he terrorized that poor linebacker.
Yeah, I was on the air, and Brady Quinn and I and we were both and we didn't even know that we were going to be discussing this. And I just said on the air, I'm like, by the way, is Ryan Jensen? He goes, dude, he's literally fighting everybody. Like it's every play.
He took the poor linebacker, like number 47. Just every play he
every single
him.
Play. It's unbelievable. But no, and so when you see just sort of this progression and how this has gone for LeBron James, you do need to marvel at the success rate he's had. This is the first time in the history of LeBron's career that he is out in the first round of the playoffs, and he spoke about it afterwards.
Every season is different. Every challenge is different. And to be able to put myself where I can even have accomplishments, to either be broken or to be able to continue it. It's all through the grace of the man above and me just trying to put in a lot of hard work in. My teammates, having great coaching staffs, and things of that nature. So, records are, if there's a record or if it's not, they're always meant to be broken. So, in that fashion, it doesn't matter to me as far as, not making it out of the first round. What matters to me is getting this team back healthy. Me not being able to be at my full strength throughout this series, that's my main focus.
And look, I mean, he's going to have an opportunity to get an actual full off season of rest, and then we see how this goes next year. But if they roll out the same roster they rolled out this year, I don't know how you feel any better about their chances next year.
You don't, but Jonas, the question is about Anthony Davis, right?
Yeah.
And people have suggested this, and we talked about this, I think, on Monday. As far as he's got to change his offseason program, his workout routine. He's got to change how he prepares for the season because, again, I was injury prone in the NFL. I hate that tag. But I didn't get pulled groins. I did I did tear my groin, but I kept playing. I mean, I'm like, it just probably was stupid, but like he's got all these injuries. He's just got to get in quote unquote the weight room, right? He's just got to find a way to dedicate himself to eating better, to training better, to preparing better. I'm not dogging what he's doing now, but when you have so many injuries, you have to spend extra time preparing for the season on your body. And that extra preparation will lead to staying healthier, will lead to you being able to recover from injuries faster. It will lead to, look, he said he hyperextended his knee. He didn't say that. We know hyperextended. He said his hyperextended knee led to his groin pull, right? Which happens, right? Compensation, overcompensation. But if you have the right people in your life to help you prepare for each game, that can be helped with training and with trainers and with rehab guys, with PT guys. You're able to have your dude end up helping you overcome this compensation issues, right? And I know it firsthand. I have guys that have done it for me. I know guys that do now in the NFL specifically. I bet you LeBron has a guy who works with him on that stuff. And so that's the next level for Anthony Davis. And if Anthony Davis does that, I feel more confident about LeBron and that pairing next year. But if he's going to be hurt next year, I don't think the Lakers can bring in enough talent to overcome another Anthony Davis injury. And most teams can't, by the way. Most teams can't lose. We saw the Suns, when Chris Paul wasn't healthy, they couldn't score, right?
Yeah.
Chris Paul comes back, and they play much better, and Booker specifically plays much better when Paul's in the game. So it's not just an Anthony Davis thing, but we're talking about the Lakers kind of rebuilding themselves next year. They can get as many shooters as they want, but if AD is not going to be healthy, it doesn't matter.